Good evening, good afternoon, whoever you find yourself in this weird, wild, wacky world of ours, and welcome to another exciting installment of Darkness in Dublin. For my immeasurable sins and the consternation of my immortal soul, this is a cross-venue scene. May the Lord have mercy on what remains of the tattered remnants of my spiritual essence. We find how to phrase, the Hermetics are, the Hermetic players find themselves once again within their chantry. Poor Mr. Kennings, having basically spent the last 2 or 3 hours in the fetal position, has managed to regain his dignity and, more importantly, find a new pair of pants. Needless to say, you will never be able to wear those pants again. You've come to the acceptance of this, however. So, both Mara and Richard are now seated in the parlor of the chantry proper. They don't know each other. They've just been told to go and sit in the parlor together.
And I'm going to assume that Richard is, unless someone tells me otherwise, that Richard is the first to arrive. He probably has been spending a bit of time in the chantry already. When he gets told to go there, he will head immediately for the parlor.
And as Mara enters the room, she, rather wordlessly just enters in and probably sits down by the by the fire. But don't know why my accent changed there for a second. I'm trying to get into character. She heads and sits down by the fire, probably looking at offhandedly at the whatever books may have been left on the table and she'll probably pick up one of them and just start thumbing through it, just while she waits for one of her superiors to arrive.
Richard will he does raise an eyebrow, Vulcan Spock style, that she didn't introduce herself, but he will think to himself that, well, okay, well then I will do the pleasantries, and he will clear his throat and approach her. Good evening, Miss.
And Mara looks up the book that she's reading. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought that you would prefer to make more formal introductions when our respective superiors here.
He pauses and then
she has a very strong Eastern European accent.
He smiles politely and then nods, backing away from her, and he will find a book to read because he's a nerd.
Approximately 30 seconds later, the doors will slam open as Magister D'Onofrio enters. Right, I'm bored. Come on.
Richard will approach her and bow.
No, as in we're going out. I'm going to find something or someone to do. Honestly, this place is so boring.
Then we will have to introduce each other on the way over there.
Oh shit! Sorry, I should probably do this. Apprentice Kennings, allow me to introduce my own apprentice, Rusu. There we go. I can remember names.
He nods politely to Mara. It's his pleasure, Miss Rusu.
Pleasure to meet you too.
It's interesting. Whenever Magister Croshaw takes up residence in a building, it ages spontaneously and gains that unmistakable musk of old. I was going to say old gentleman, then I remembered it was him. Old bearded git.
Dumbledore.
Yeah. Did you say that in character?
No, sorry. I thought I had turned off my sound. No.
So, what is there that's fun to do in this godforsaken, feculent little city?
Your interpretation of fun.
He'll look at you, and she'll look at you very blankly and say, "Well, your house Quasar, I wouldn't expect you to know how to have fun."
We know how to have fun. We just simply choose to derive fun from other avenues rather than simply going out and drinking or what. Otherwise, well, I don't wish to presume the disposition of anyone present, but working class, I think they call it here, practices.
And I like you, Quasitol. You'll go far. And by far, I mean if I drop you off a great height. That's neither here nor there. Now then, adventure! She will kind of strike a pose, pointing, her finger off into nothing as she walks out the door, kind of grabbing her Baroque-style military coat and slinging it over her shoulders.
Richard will follow her into the outdoors and what awaits them there.
And Mara will follow.
Okay. I'm now going to... Okay, basically through one means or another, I just had to actually introduce the Hermetics to one another. Everyone else is more than free to find their own way to the coffee festival, but allow me to give the description. St. Stephen's Green Park, where the festival is located, is a large gated and walled park that exists in Dublin city centre. It's quite a beautiful place, entered through a grand sweeping Baroque columned gate that stands sentinel and vigil over the city and has done since the Victorian era. Inside, you will be greeted first and foremost by the aroma of coffee. It is a delightful smell. It is very awakening, is the phrase I would use. It has a sense of the mysterious and yet the familiar to it. You inhale the aroma and you feel almost as if you are stepping into a warm, comforting blanket. It is rather delightful. The coffee festival itself is a series of tents that have been set up where various different blenders, grinders, and other affiliated and aficionados of the bean have set up small workstations and are plying the country people and the city folk with their delicious coffee. They are selling it everything from mochachinos to lattes to cappuccinos to frappuccinos. Anything and everything is on the go, along with more danishes and sweet things than you could physically contemplate. So I will go through the three. Basically, there are 2 vampires, 2 Order of Hermes, and Obi. Obi, you get your own category. You're special.
I've been accused of being special before, sir.
So we will go down through them. How are my darling Canaanites this evening? As you wend and twist your way through the tents, what are you looking for? Why are you here?
Harold, for his part, he entered into this coffee festival, and he's looking out amongst the crowd, but he's going to stand off a little bit to the side, practicing a little bit of his Tai Chi. Granted, it's at night, but I'm pretty sure people have seen beforehand an old man just exercising out by himself. Bye.
Okay. And what is his fellow Canaanite doing this evening?
Lucius is just sticking to the shadows and watching, seeing if he can pick up any information that can be useful.
Okay. That's fine. At this moment in time, the Hermetics will arrive. The Magister has disappeared somewhere, so you find she told you to wait there. That was about 20 minutes ago. She said she'd be back. You guess she's probably forgotten. What do you choose to do?
Well, I'm going to get a cup of coffee.
Ooh, what kind of cup of coffee are you going to get? What kind of coffee?
I'm going to get a latte macchiato.
Excellent. You will find a darling little girl. A darling. She's not much more than a little girl. You guess she's maybe a 14, 15-year-old standing behind a counter, and she'll look up at you with big, adorable brown eyes, and she'll say, "What can I get for you, sir?"
I'd like a latte macchiato, please.
Of course.
He says, and then he takes out the money.
I guarantee you my papa's coffee simply won't be beaten. Thank you for choosing it. She will say as she goes about the business of blending the coffee together.
He does wonder why someone so young is behind a counter, but he shrugs and goes, "Well, that's not my business," and then just gets his coffee when it's offered to him.
Okay, it will take about 4 to 5 minutes, and the coffee will be handed to you in a plastic thermos, and you were told you can keep the thermos.
It takes him 45 minutes to make a cup of coffee?
I said 4 to 5 minutes.
Oh, sorry. I was like, what the fuck? Okay. Yep.
Yeah, if it
he will
takes
take
that
a
long,
coffee.
that better be one good cup of coffee.
Yeah, definitely. He takes the coffee and sips it.
It has a small little crest on it which says Almirento Coffee grinders since 1817. Ooh,
Traditional.
traditional. What is Mara doing?
Mara's probably just going to browse around the whole thing. Obviously, I mean, I don't know anything about coffee personally, but I imagine that Mara could probably. Well, I'm just looking at a sheet because I don't want to like cheat or anything, but I'm guessing with her level of esoteric knowledge, she probably has some weird, like, derived knowledge about where this coffee probably comes from, and which company might manufacture it, and maybe some weird little bits and pieces like that. But yeah, mostly she's just going to be sticking by Richard's side because safety in numbers, and likely if their superior decides to show up again, it'll probably be expedient if they didn't have to go off to try and find the two of them again.
More than likely. That's a fair assessment.
Yes.
Okay.
Good judgment.
And last but not least, we get to the special group, or also known as Task Force Obi.
Booyah.
Kasha. For the record, Buwakasha actually translates to as death to the white man.
Shit. I did not.
Yes.
That's kind of final.
Yeah.
The things you learn. But yes, so Obi, Kamul has decided that to stretch his legs, and he finds his way to the coffee festival. As I said, it's rather pleasant overall. It's got a real festive atmosphere. It's also because it's coming up to Christmas, and there's a light smattering of snow on the ground. As a matter of fact, it's snowing at the moment.
Nice, kind of very pretty, beautiful. He's patrolling these rounds. He's taking in the kind of mental texture of the area, but he also wants to see if he can pick up any leads on this infernal thing that's happening in the city. So he's just slowly walking from booth to booth, and occasionally he'll ping one of the entrepreneurs running one of these booths to see if there's any kind of subcontext of nefarious intent.
Most of them seem to be pretty on the level. I think that they're more interested in the 10,000 euro prize for the best coffee grinder than they're interested in anything that might be considered submutaneous or malicious in any way. All right. Okay. In that case, Bruce, Harold, as Harold moves through his movements through the Tai Chi, you'll notice that there's a small child rather intently looking at you. Couldn't be more than 10 years old, just kind of staring at you with kind of interest is the phrase I will use.
Okay. Harold would regard him and acknowledge him. He'll stop in his Tai Chi and he'll do like a respectful bow towards the child.
The child will look at him and blink, and he'll just say, "What were you doing, mister?"
He'll respond, "Oh, that's what we call Tai Chi. Learned it a long time ago. You interested, son?"
He'll kind of nod. He'll say, "I don't know what you were doing, but I was just. It was an interesting way of moving, and I just wanted to know what it was."
Oh, well, yeah, if I could show you a few moves if you want. It'll make you healthier and strong.
He'll nod rather emphatically, and we'll kind of he'll walk up and stand beside you.
Well, Yeah, Harold will just he'll look at him while he shows him how to guide his hands to the left, how to posture his body, and we'll just try to instruct him like, remember to breathe in slowly and breathe out with your movements.
The child appears to be really interested, and he will be rather receptive to being taught this. It is at this moment that all of you will hear a kind of a noise as a microphone. You assume the sound system is being activated, and you hear, "Ladies and gentlemen, please give your attention for a brief moment to our company sponsor. Allow me to introduce Mr. Nielsen, Chairman of New Project Management of Pentex Industries." Just a moment. I just have to get his picture on the screen. Have a picture for you. Where's the picture gone? There it is. There it is. Many of you will see this man walk to a large stage at the center of the tented areas, and he will say, "Good afternoon. My name is Adam Nielsen. I am the chairman for Pentex Europe's New Acquisition and Appropriations Committee. It is a pleasure to speak to you it is a pleasure to be able to address such a fine crowd this evening." There's the kind of general mill of applause. Questione: Does anyone have any supernatural senses currently activated? Anyone? Like Auspex would do it. Does anyone have spirit sight or any other relevant sights activated?
Not activated. I have Sense Life, but I haven't used it.
Nope.
I have all specs, but I didn't activate it.
Okay. In that case, actually, can I get everyone who's interested to make me a perception awareness roll, please? Thank you.
Yes, please.
Perception to awareness. Perception awareness.
Is it standard?
Difficulty standard, yeah.
Okay. One success.
For fuck's just a sec.
When you have the results, just let me know.
2 successes for Kimio.
Okay.
And I botch.
Shit.
Hey, this is some really good coffee.
Evan, I got 2 successes at diff 6.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
No worries.
Lucius has 1.
Okay. All of you who get 1 success, you feel something creeping down your spine. For those of you who got 2 successes, it's almost like you can taste the air, and the air is wrong. If that makes sense, it's kind of a weird, almost like there's a terrible smell or a terrible taste, and you're just kind of like, it's just on the tip of your tongue. Something's not right here.
Okay.
Allow me to introduce, or rather the reason that we have staged this little gathering this evening, as well as to celebrate caffeine and coffee in its finest form. Pentex would like to introduce you to Bolt, he will say as he snaps his fingers, and the 2 screens behind him show a can, basically a can of a soda, and there's a red lightning flash that breaks through the can, spraying this bright red liquid everywhere. And he says, "This is Bolt. This is the new energy drink from Pentex Food and Beverages that will be released on the market as of tomorrow morning. We intend to brew this drink in Dublin and export it worldwide. Currently, we are looking for operators for our new plant that we have purchased in Phibsborough, Dublin. We know that we can bring a new taste sensation to Europe, and we want you to be a part of it. Come and join the Bolt community so we can strike down the enemy of thirst." There's kind of, a general applause that this is clearly, just a project, just a kind of a product launch, and everyone's like, "Oh, interesting, yay." Yes.
Lucius is going to get his phone and snap a picture of this guy.
Okay. You take a picture of him. Um,
Sorry.
oh, sorry.
No,
Continue, Bruce.
Yeah, no, Harold will just comment to the kid, who like whispered to him, like, son, don't drink that shit. Bad for your health.
You'll kind of nod and you'll go, yeah, no, I don't want to, but thank you, mister. And thank you very much for showing me that. He'll smile.
He'll nod, and if he leaves, he'll give him, again, a respectful bow, like a sensei would. And,
From the stage, the chap Nicholas will say, we would like to offer 100 free cases of Bolt, as a matter of fact, this evening. So please come and buy your tickets for our prize draw. But this will be announced shortly before we announce the winner of the greatest coffee brewer in Dublin. Bolt contains caffeine, coffee contains caffeine. They're basically brothers of the art. So we hope that you will come and join the Bolt family soon.
Well, Richard is gonna, as soon as things clear, Richard is gonna shrug and say, "Hey, well, might as well win some caffeine and go buy a ticket."
Okay. The tickets are like €5, so yeah, you can afford a ticket. It's not a problem. For those of you who rolled your, awareness, it's this place. It doesn't feel right to you. It feels really peculiar.
Unless you
You
box.
now, well, unless you box, you now get the distinct impression that you're being watched.
Helps if I unmute myself.
It does that, Jason. Yeah, a little bit.
All right. Could I do just a... I want to start with a perception alertness check.
Okay.
Okay. Those ones. I do have the specialty perfect clarity. Would that apply for this?
Yes, that would apply.
All right, that's 2 successes then.
Okay. What were you looking for exactly?
Just basically if there's anyone in her immediate vicinity that seems to be paying particular attention to either her or her compatriot that she's with.
You will notice a number, but then again, this was present throughout the entirety of the festival proper. You will notice that there are a number of armed guards walking around. Now, for those of you who don't know, I did put posts about it. Dublin is currently being aided in its policing service by a private military company named Spearhead. So the armed men will be walking around wearing the Spearhead insignia. And will be very, they're basically, you assume, just there to keep the peace or whatever else have you, but they're being very they're being very polite. They're not making their presence very obvious. However, you can tell that 2 of them definitely have locked sight on both yourself and Richard and are keeping it there.
Mm-hmm. Right, and Mara will... Yeah, she'll make a mental note of those people. She will kind of like lean in towards Richard and kind of like just lightly tap him on his on the side of his... at least tap him on his arm. Is that coffee okay?
It's actually it's actually good. He smiles. You should try it.
I forgot to ask. Maybe some other time. I forgot to ask. Were you familiar with the differing languages that we use in the house?
He thinks for a moment and says, and he keeps his voice down, but not suspiciously down. I have heard the old language, but I do not yet. I do know Latin and both dialects of Greek, so I can do that.
That is going to be helpful. Though perhaps you should include an ocean in that.
When she speaks in the name of the old language out loud, he does jerk a little bit. He didn't think that they were supposed to talk about things like that in public, but he nods and says again quietly, I do intend it. I only just awoke. I only just moved in a couple of weeks ago.
That's
Hoping
fine.
that she knows what he means by moved in.
So, considering we never got the chance to speak, could you understand if I were to say, and she then switches to Latin and she just basically says, observe.
He nods. He understands her. He actually says Latin. I don't know that there is a word for yes in Latin, or at least we've lost
there
it.
would
So.
be.
Yeah, but
Though she just simply blinks
yeah.
and says again, observe.
He nods, now getting her meaning, and does try to observe. Can I roll perception alertness?
You can, in fact. At this point, I am going to move over once again to my darling kindred, and I'm going to say that, okay. You see two of the spearhead guards. Basically, they're just men dressed in combat fatigues with ablative chest armor, and they're only equipped with their sidearms at the moment, but they're wearing their sidearms pretty obviously. They are going to walk forward, and they'll probably say to the La Sombra, "Hey, sorry, but please don't skulk in the shadows if you don't mind. That's rather disconcerting for the festival goers."
He will nod and move away from the shadows and away from the guards.
One of them will say, "Can we see your identification, please, sir?"
He will provide the appropriate identification.
I just had to get their picture up. What does your what identification did you provide them?
A driver's license.
Okay. What was the country of issue?
Ireland.
Okay. They'll hand it back to you and they'll say, "Would you mind coming with us, sir?"
Why?
We have some questions for you.
All right.
Evan, is it all right if I make an attempt to, if it's within his line of sight, could Harold with Auspex try to overhear what's being said between Vesuvius and these people?
Yep, by all means. If you want to activate your Auspex, that's entirely fine.
Okay, give me 1 second and I'll add it in.
On a side note, a wild Obi, you spot a wild Richard Kennings, who you remember earlier.
Oh, okay. So he'll come up to his side and tap him on the shoulder and appear on the other side of him.
And when he feels his shoulder being tapped, Richard looks up and smiles in recognition. Ah, good to see you again.
Mr. Kennings.
What brings you here?
Just out catching the sights. What about yourself?
The same, he says. It's then he holds up his coffee. I needed a good cup of coffee. It's hard to find these days.
Yes, it's cold tonight as well, so I'm sure it will help.
Indeed.
That's 4 success, by the way, Evan. Sorry, guys.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. You will very easily be able to overhear the entire conversation.
By the way, which conversation is it that he's overhearing, just so we know?
He's overhearing the spearhead military individuals speaking to those.
Okay.
We haven't quite emerged each other into the same conversation or group as of yet. I don't think we've even seen each other, but anyway, yeah.
No, you are within about 200 meters of each other, so you're not ridiculously far away. But
okay, good.
Okay, and Mara will look over towards. Is it Kemuel?
Yes.
All right. Mara will look over towards Kemiel, and then look over towards Kennings.
And then Richard will like do his a face palm on himself and say, "Oh, where are my manners, Mr. Brand? This is of mine, Miss Russo."
Mara Russo. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you, Mara. Kemiel.
Nice to meet you.
But my
Beautiful.
apologies. Just
Okay.
just going back to the conversation with the Canaanites, and then we can switch back to you guys.
Right.
It will say, "We have some questions for you. Please step this way, sir." Ian, are you there?
Sorry, what?
He just said, "We have some questions for you. If you wouldn't mind, please stepping this way."
I already said that I wouldn't.
Very good. They will proceed to basically one of them will walk in front of you, and one of them will walk behind you, and they're just going to start walking away with you. Does Harold do anything in response to this, or does he just let them walk away?
He'll try to shadow them from a safe distance.
Okay. Do you want to actually shadow them, as in do you want to roll me some dex stealth, or are you just trying to be inconspicuous?
Yeah, I'll do a dex stealth. Why not?
What could possibly go wrong?
Possibly good one. Let's see. What difficulty do you want it?
It's a pretty crowded environment, and there's a lot of noise and activity. So I'm going to say difficulty 5.
That's a success.
I beg your pardon?
Success.
Okay.
Damn.
Wellity. Okay, they do not see a thing and continue to walk on, utterly obliviously. Okay. Ian, you are brought to a tent on the outskirts of the other tents, which you where they say, "Would you mind stepping inside, please, sir?"
Okay.
You will see a man seated behind it's kind of a metallic hard metal desk. It's probably just more of a table, but he's got a computer on it. He's casually scanning the computer, and he'll look up as you enter, and he'll say, "Good afternoon," or "Good evening," rather.
Hello.
You're really crackly, by the way. So do you mind coming out and coming back in, Ian? That tends to fix the crackling.
I said hello.
I can understand you. It's just really distorted. As I say, logging in and logging out tends to fix it because
If I log out, I'd have to go because my internet is the best I can get from my internet right now.
Okay. The man behind the desk will say, "I do hope that you're well this evening. Would you care to take a seat?"
Prefer to stand.
I understand. That's entirely fine. I was merely hoping to ascertain exactly what your status was.
How do you mean?
They'll contemplate that and they'll say, "Well, from what my sensors have been able to ascertain, you're not alive, and I find that interesting." If it helps, your ambient body temperature is roughly that of this room. It's kind of obvious, really.
Okay. Have I caused you some kind of difficulty?
No, but you're interesting, and we tend to take an interest in what is interesting. For the record, Harold, you can hear this entire conversation, and they haven't seen you.
Gotcha.
I'm
Well-
merely trying to ascertain your nature.
Well, if I haven't caused you any problems, I think I'll just head out now.
I see. That's very interesting. So you're not going to answer my questions then?
Would you?
Well, that depends. Sorry, I have to answer. No, I don't have to answer that question. Haha. In all honesty, you know, I probably wouldn't. You're probably right. But then again, you're not exactly in a position to refuse, are you?
Yeah, I'm going to be heading out now.
He will extend his hand to you and he'll say, okay, that's fine. No hard feelings?
No, not at all. And he'll turn around.
You won't even shake a man's hand. Tisk, tisk. Fine. Men, let him go. You see the two men kind of step away, either side, back to back, so that they will not obstruct your exit from the tent.
And he'll exit the tent.
Okay, you safely leave the tent. If Harold does not make himself known, you will not see him because he is the wind.
Yeah, Harold will try to shadow Vesuvius. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. He'll try to shadow him until a safe distance away, not to look
Okay.
inconspicuous.
Vesuvius will make it, you know, he will get a couple of 100 feet away from the tent. So if you wish to interact with him, he is now what you would refer to as a safe distance in inverted commas.
Okay, yeah, Harold would whisper out to him. Hey, boy, come here.
I didn't hear a word you said.
Harold just whispered to you, said, hey, boy, psst, come here.
But if he can't see you, where is he supposed to go?
I'm sorry, what was that, Ian?
I said, if he can't see you, where is he supposed to go? Just saying over here doesn't help.
Harold's not obfuscated. He's just that stealthy.
You know, when he speaks to you, you can ascertain where he is.
Okay. He will move towards that.
Yeah, Harold will approach you till you guys are standing side by side, and he'll just kind of nod his head over back to the tent. He'll say, what did they ask you about?
They got scanners on here, and they can tell when we're not alive. I advise we should probably head out.
Harold looks back to the tent. And, it's kind
He just went robotic.
strange. Then he'll just nod. He'll look at Vesuvius and just say, yeah, perhaps we should just get out of here then.
He'll flash a picture of the guy that was speaking. Creepy guy I got a picture of, so should be able to get something.
Harold will introduce himself and just say, they call me Folks, but you can call me Harold.
Cross or Vicious, either or.
Are you new in this town?
I've been here a little bit. Not for a long time though.
I got in not too long ago myself. Thought I was all alone. You're one of the few Canaanites I've met.
Yeah, sorry guys, my internet's screwing up. I'm going to have to head on.
No worries, Ian. We will talk to you later.
Bye.
Later, Ian.
Now then, For the remaining 3, you will notice that the 2 Spearhead employees are now starting to make their way towards you.
Mara, because she spotted this first, she'll clear her throat and just lean in towards Kennings because, you know, fellow Hermetic. They intend to cause trouble.
When he is she still speaking Latin, by the way?
Yes, for this conversation. Well, for this interaction between them.
Okay. He nods seriously and purposefully does not look where she's looking because that would be obvious. And he says, "Well, it's probably time to."
And Mara will probably look over towards Brent. Could we continue this conversation outside?
Certainly. Is there anything a matter?
The fresh air would be nice. He smiles.
Ladies and gentlemen, now has come time to announce the winners of our raffle. You hear boomed over the loudspeaker. You see, basically how this worked was you bought a ticket, and when you bought the ticket, your name was entered into a ledger. So it also has, you basically got a numbered ticket, and your name is basically your name and address are connected to the registry. So they will send you your crate of the drink, essentially.
Yeah. Just for the record, he would of course not have been stupid enough to give them the address of the chat. Just need to get that out there.
That would have. Oh my sweet zombie Jesus!
Come on, Mark. Why not, dude? It's free caffeine, man.
Yep.
That would have ended in tragic and yet hilarious ways.
Yes,
now
we would have
known to be known as Tradlarious ways.
Yes.
You will okay. However, the third name listed as they're called out on the list of names is indeed Mr. Richard Kennings, number 327.
Huh.
Of course.
That's you.
Of course.
Richard had actually intended to just head out anyway, but as soon as his name is called attention to, well, that ship basically sailed.
Well,
so
it depends. How far were they when the announcements were being made?
Oh no, you're not expected to come up and collect it. They ship the prize.
No. I mean, how far did they make it to the outside? I mean, if it's third place, then I imagine they probably would have. It's completely up to you, but you know.
They made it about 100 feet or so, 100 meters.
100 meters. What, 100 meters out of the tent or wherever it is that they are in?
Essentially, yes.
All right. Okay.
So you don't have to go back and collect any prizes.
Good,
Let's phrase it like that.
Good. Good.
All right.
You will notice, however, that they've started to. Okay, all of you will notice this as you make your way out.
Okay.
You'll notice that basically they've clearly been giving out some bolt to people, and you notice people in the streets like really. It's almost like they're knocking it back and they become incredibly exuberant. You know, like they become like it's like an energy drink was mixed with steroids in a weird way to describe. So people are like kind of, you know, really full of energy. Like even if they appear to be sleepy or tired, they boost right up to an almost kind of, not necessarily a manic state, but a state of absolute kind of, yes, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, yeah.
Before we leave, I snatch one of them from somebody.
Okay.
Could I do an intelligence science check? I've only got the 1 dot, but usually what I want to find out is what are usually in these energy drinks, or at least from what you can remember anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. You can look that up, or you can try and remember that with an intellect science roll.
2 successes.
I will do it as well.
Okay.
Like right now instead of leaving?
Yeah, she's just thinking. Because she's smart like that.
I get 3.
Hooray!
Mhm.
Generally speaking, energy drinks derive their name from the incredibly high amounts of caffeine that are present within them. Some of them going onwards and upwards of 32 milligrams of caffeine in an individual serving. Now, when I say that might sound like a lot, trust me, that's a fuck lot. That is a huge quantity.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
looking at my
what's
energy
lethal?
drink. Yeah, I'm looking at
le-
my energy
I actually
drink
checked
right
this
now.
once. A lethal singular dosage of caffeine is, I believe, 170 milligrams in a single
Wow.
shot.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Fuck. That's like a third of the lethal dose. Wow.
Okay.
But that has to be given at once. It's not a thing of over, because it basically serves like adrenaline. It creates adrenaline. It's complicated in the human body. But yes, but ultimately, yeah, it basically comes down to the amount of caffeine that there is in it and the amount of what we call sebronefront. It's really hard to pronounce. The word is sevronefronditol, which is basically a chemical that's used to help our bodies produce serotonin. And from that, we derive energy and, ultimately pleasure as well. So if you ever want to have really good sex, just pound a Red Bull. Wow, and all of a sudden I know what I'm naming this scene.
Evan,
Yes.
Speaking from experience, he speaks the truth.
Sorry, did you want to ask me something, Bruce?
yeah, just would the change in the crowd that's drinking these energy drinks be very obvious, or would I have to roll to notice?
No,
this?
it's very obvious.
Okay. Could I just like to make an attempt to, on any normal person, just any individual that's already drinking it, I'd like to just try to make a hello and try to shake their hand so I can engage one of my disciplines through physical contact.
Okay, which discipline do you wish to engage with physical contact?
I'd like to use my Valoran and Sense Vitality.
Okay. Yes, you can 100% do that. What kind of person are you aiming to try and get to? Like what kind of age bracket, gender, kind of,
Someone maybe like in their mid-20s.
Okay. There's a girl who's currently kind of she's smiling and she's quite pretty. You'd say she's probably about appearance 3, raven black hair, quite pale. She's kind of sitting slumped against a wall, relatively near to where you're standing. She's got 2 of the empties next to her, and she's got a big kind of goofy grin on her face. And she looks up at you and she says, "You've got pretty glasses."
Oh, well, thank you, sweetheart. You make an old man's heart flutter, even though that's a lie. Should I roll like a charisma plus something to break the ice, or to?
No, I mean, as I say, I prefer to do this just the role play.
Oh, okay. He'll just extend his hand and for his name. They call me Harold. What's yours?
Oh, my name's Elisa. It's really nice to meet you. And she'll extend, and she will shake.
Okay, so I got to roll a perception plus empathy against a difficulty of 7. Let's see. It being a perception, could I also use my Auspex Augment Touch?
Yeah, yes, you can.
Okay, great. So that would decrease the difficulty to 6 then, right?
Yep, that would be fine.
All right, cool. So let me enter this in.
Remember, willpower is your friend.
Okay, I got 2 successes, it says.
Okay. What exactly does it let you ascertain?
Okay, I have I'm using the reference desk for Valorant. It says 2 successes reveal how many health levels of damage the subject suffered. I guess pretty much nothing. Alternatively, this power may be used as a sort of limited aftersight, revealing to the Silvery how the subject came to be in her current state. Each success on this roll allows the player to ask the storyteller 1 question about the subject's health or health levels. So it also notes, was he drugged or is his wounds aggravated, or valid questions. So yeah, can I ascertain she looks in this agitated state? Like what might be like how strong?
Yes, you can.
This?
Okay. I'll describe it to you like this. Has your character ever ghouled someone?
Yes.
Okay. She is basically experiencing the same rush humans get when they drink vampire vitae. However, the blood bonding is not there. It is basically just the same rush that they get. They almost creepily so.
Okay. Okay. If I can, just one more roll. Can I make a medicine roll, like a perception medicine roll? I'd like to diagnose her eyes, see if there's a lot of jittering going on. Or
Yep, absolutely. Rock me that intelligence medicine roll.
what's the difficulty?
Standard diff.
I got one success.
She's not high. She's not drunk. She's not she's not overly agitated. It literally just looks like she's had a lot of caffeine. Or she's taken a minor stimulant. But there's definitely something in her eyes that's almost a euphoric sense. But you're not exactly sure what caused it. Only that it's there.
Okay, so I guess with all this information gathered, Harold could walk away reasonably assuming that they've been drugged, and whatever this drug is, it's making them high. And this would be, yeah.
I say euphoric. They're not high in the sense they've still got complete control of their cognitive functions, from what you can see. Like they're not cognitively impaired. They're not slurring their words. They're not in any way lack of. They are happy. They are up. If that makes sense.
Got you. Okay. Well, yeah. For I guess Harold will just make small talk with her as he will steadily observe her and his surrounding environment.
Okay. For the record, because you have taken the time to do so, you will get a contact. You will get her as a contact in the university. If your character is interested, you can add that to your sheet.
Oh, awesome!
Use a
Cool.
university contact for you.
Okay, so I guess. All right, yeah, I'll take it. I guess they'll gab about medicine, and he'll be like, "Oh, drinking, blah 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 blah."
That's entirely fine. Okay, so Obi, you wanted to try and lift one of the cans, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, you find that there's a bunch of them that have been basically set at the outside of the park in what appears to be a large bin that's been basically filled with ice, and there are just cans of it in there.
Mhm.
Yep. That's what you see.
He's gonna go grab one.
Do any of you have Prime Sight activation?
I was about to activate that actually.
There we go.
I don't think I even have it.
Okay.
Nope.
Show roll, and I'll spend a will for this one because I think we're going to need it. Well, not that we needed to. That's 3 successive willpower spent.
God damn.
Yeah, that was Prime Sight.
Oh, and Kim is saying, if you wouldn't mind making rolls in the rolls room, please, when using Discord. But sorry. Okay, so there is a tiny residual amount of prime energy in each one of those drinks, in each one of those cans. It's infinitesimal, but it's there.
Mario just look at the kind of bolt in Brant's hand. That has a trace of primal energy in it.
He looks at the can. Okay.
Has, if I could be allowed to finish, it has essentially created the effects of well, a more potent effect for the concoction. I would assess.
It's useless. We can't risk it. It could be tracked. All right. Exit stage left.
Okay. You will all proceed to make your way out of the scene via your various methodologies. We will close the scene here in that point. I would like to say thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. If you have any. This has been another scene in Darkness in Dublin where the fun never stops. We hope you have a pleasant evening.